Your forecast, Flin Flon, Creighton, and Adair Beach. Today, the sun will shine. High -17. The wind chill will dip down.
Nestled deep within the heart of Canada's northern wilderness lies a town that has weathered the test of time. Flin Flon, Manitoba, a place where history resonates through the minds that built it, the hockey legends that graced its rinks, and the thriving arts and culture that give it a unique identity. Residents here are bound by more than just geography, but by a connection to the pioneers that shaped the very bedrock of this community and turned Flin Flon into a place like no other. There are many towns and cities around the world with unique names, but nothing as unique as Flin Flon, the only town in North America to be named after a character in a fiction novel.
Where the name comes from is actually from a book that was published in about 1905 called The Sunless City by Jane Muddock. We did have references to it from the prospectors who actually found that book when they were doing some prospecting over in another area in northern Saskatchewan. The character, the fictional character, was Josiah Flintabbatty Floniton.
The fabulous tale follows Josiah Flintabbatty Floniton, who built a submarine and journeyed down a subterranean river which flowed from the bottom of Lake Avernus in the Rocky Mountains and into the center of the earth in search of the unknown. Floniton traveled through the petrified forest, the Hall of Jewels, and the Sea of Echoes. After a long 2 weeks of travel, he found himself in the Valley of Gold, where he discovered a new civilization. Here, the streets were paved with gold, the local currency was tin, and the norms of society were backwards. At the end of the story, Flintabbatty escapes the city and finds his way back to the surface of the earth through the crater of an extinct volcano. In 1913, Thomas Creighton came across a copy of The Sunless City.
Tom Creighton was a very early prospector in this region of northern Saskatchewan and northern Manitoba. He was very responsible for discovering the copper deposit here, and he had been shown that deposit by an indigenous trapper in the area by the name of David Collins.
I was a little girl and I was with my grandmother, so David was her grandfather and she knew him. David Collins trapped that area. My granny said that in front of his home where he lived, it was full of rock all over, because he knew good rock.
He got to know what mineralization looked like and what it meant. He was extremely knowledgeable about where people were and used the term
the money rock, as he stated it,
which was his way of saying minerals that were obviously very valuable.
He didn't know much English, but he knew the word money rock.
He realized that there was an outcrop of mineralization on Flin Flon Lake, and he showed Tom Creighton.
In 1915, later in the summer, an Indian named David Collins, whose trapping ground was about Flin Flon Lake, showed these prospectors specimens of copper ore and later accompanied them to Flin Flon Lake and showed them the spot from which the specimens had been collected. The ground was then staked and surface trenching was commenced.
When David Collins showed him the ore body, Creighton and his prospecting group decided to name the claim Flin Flon, as they had figured this must have been the hole Josiah Flintabbatty Floniton escaped from. It wasn't long until the surrounding community took on the name. Soon enough, this discovery turned into a mining operation. It would eventually become one of the greatest mining operations in Canada. This all wouldn't have been possible without the wealthy Whitney family of New York. The Whitney family, known for their wealth, influence, and philanthropy, have been a central figure in the development of American society. The Whitneys' legacy is punctuated by their significant contributions to art, culture, and business, most notably through the establishment of the iconic Whitney Museum of American Art. However, within this family was Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney, a distinguished figure in his own right. He was known for his success in business, particularly in mining and aviation, and later played a pivotal role in Flin Flon's mining development. In the years leading up to the incorporation of Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting Company, Cornelius, also known as Sonny, alongside Roscoe Channing, one of America's well-known mining engineers, conducted metallurgic research on the copper deposit from the Flin Flon ore body. After over a year of experimentation, they were able to successfully come up with a process to make the ore deposit commercially viable. Not long after, Sonny obtained an option on the ore deposit. In 1927, Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting Company was incorporated, with Roscoe Channing as the first president and Sonny Whitney later as the chairman of the board. By 1930, production began, and the community's population rose to 2,000, and by 1935 to 5,000. By 1941, the Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting Company achieved the status of being Canada's second-largest zinc producer and the third-largest copper producer. During this time, HBM&S completed the construction of the Flin Flon mine, mill, smelter, and a hydroelectric dam to provide energy for the mining complex. This development, one of the most extensive industrial complexes of its era, played a pivotal role in the economic development of northern Manitoba. In 2004, the company underwent a name change to become Hud Bay Minerals, and the company was listed as a publicly traded company on the stock exchange. For nearly a century, Hud Bay has worked hard to develop successful mining operations in northern Manitoba, and in turn, a booming community that turned into Flin Flon as we know today. Over the years, Hud Bay contributed to the city by providing jobs, opportunities, and community development. While the closing of the 777 mine has substantially reduced Hud Bay's footprint in Flin Flon, the company continues to look for opportunities in the area and support the community in times of need.
mmfeducation.ca. And your forecast, Flin Flon, Creighton, Denara Beach today, looking at a cloudy sky, 30% chance of flurries, high -8, wind chill make you feel like -14. Tonight cloudy, 30% chance of flurries, temperature staying steady near -8 with a wind chill of -15. Still warming up for Saturday, a sun cloud mix with a high.
This was a home that was built by Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney of the Whitney, New York family fame, and this was a home that they built when he was very, very much involved in the family with the Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting. This is a very modern kitchen that was used by the company and for the various VIPs that would be coming into town. And we go back a little bit into history of the Whitneys. The intention of this place was for entertainment. It has en suites in each of the bedrooms. It has all the fine china that they needed for entertaining the various people coming into the north, into the community. Just as a little example, you would see that the little tags on here that say Whitney on one side. There had been no mistaking who this would have belonged to, and this would have been washed and returned to the house by the housekeeping staff. On the wall, we actually have a picture of Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney. Sonny Whitney is he's known by sort of nationally, internationally. It was Sonny Whitney that was often the person that was here with his wife to take part in what his responsibilities were for the mine. And so moving on, we actually have the living room area. This place has hosted many, many very wealthy individuals from, of course, Sonny Whitney, Roscoe Channing. And this mine really just was a really important part in the development of the community and the citizens in the town. So the living room opens right into an outside deck. This is just really one of those traditional spaces, which is really, really quite large. It was an opportunity for Sonny Whitney to be able to look at his great business, the Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting, and to see the operations, entertain as well. And so it's just a beautiful space. Most of the homes in this area were just little homes that fit maybe 6 or 7 or 8 people. This would have been the only place that would have had running water for baths. And so the women, they would have come here. Mrs. Whitney would have invited them over to be able to have a bath once a week. This was a generous offer in a very difficult situation up north here.
Among the landmarks that stand testament to this enduring legacy, one institution stands out as the single oldest business in Flin Flon, defying the passage of time: the local radio station.
Now, Arctic radio weather on 102.9 CFAR.
We are the oldest consistently running business in Flin Flon since 1937, November. Radio is very important to this community when it opened, and it continues to be today because of the word community. That's what we are. That's what it was in 1937. We are the voice of the community, and we give the community a voice. The content back in the late 30s, early 40s was live music. So in this history room, we have some pictures of people who'd come in live to the studio. There was a lot of, there's a band, there's a singer up there, we'd have a lot of that kind of entertainment. There was also a lot of homemakers who'd come on and share recipes. As time went on and we had junior hockey, there was plays going on. People thought they were listening to the hockey game, but they weren't. We were getting teletype, and information would come in. The guys sitting at the actual game would send it in, and they'd see that so-and-so passed the puck to so-and-so, and they would be repeating it on the air. So yeah, we've been the voice of the Bombers the whole time.
All right, folks, welcome back to Creighton Furniture, Flin Flon Bomber Hockey on 102.9 CFAR and FlinFlonOnline.com. Puck is just about to drop here as the Flin Flon Bombers are ready to take on the Yorkton Terriers.
They definitely started on time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think maybe Coach Mike Reagan was getting a little tired of hearing them having problem starts. Well, definitely not the case today. Face-off goes to the Bombers. That's Bax in the high slot, puts on a wrister. That goes off the pad and scores on the rebound. That's Bruner for his first as a Flin Flon Bomber.
Like many other Canadian towns and cities, hockey held a special place in the heart of the Flin Flon community. In 1927, the Flin Flon Bombers were established, managed by none other than prospector Tom Creighton. The Bombers' first season from 1927 to 28 was a tremendous success. Throughout the years, the Flin Flon Bombers played their home games at various local arenas and facilities. It wasn't until 1958 that the construction of their own arena began. In 1960, the arena received its official name, the Whitney Forum, in recognition of the generous contribution made by HBM&S and the Whitneys who donated the building.
When I go anywhere and you're wearing a Bomber jersey or a Bomber t-shirt, the first guy everybody mentions is Bobby Clark and Reggie Leach. You know, they don't know anybody else from Flin Flon. That's the two guys, Bobby Clark was born and raised in Flin Flon. He was a natural playing hockey, minor hockey. He went up through the ranks as one of the top players. When he came into the Bombers, he brought into the Bombers an energy that is needed to be a superstar in hockey.
Bobby Clarke is probably the biggest legend in Flin Flon. Everybody that associates the Flin Flon Bombers associates Bobby Clarke with them.
He was the guy that got the puck out of the corner. He was the guy that got the puck to a person that could score.
And he's definitely a local hero here, a guy that cares a lot about Flin Flon and the Bombers. You know, he's just very passionate about the Flin Flon Bombers in this community.
Reggie Leach came from Riverton. He was a First Nations hockey player, a goal scorer, had a shot second to none.
Reggie's nickname was the Rifle. You know, he definitely was a great goal scorer for the Flin Flon Bombers.
Even when he was in the NHL, he is one of the strongest goal scorers. Him and Bobby Clarke, they played like one person. When they had 3 seconds to play at the end of the game and they had a face-off next to the opposing goalie, there was a very good chance they could score.
Bobby and Reggie became NHL superstars, and you know, I think a lot of people in Flin Flon became Philadelphia Flyer fans because of Bobby and Reggie. The two of them were very important to building the Flin Flon Bombers as an organization and a big part of the success that they had back in the days.
Thank you. That's good. Please, thank you. We had good teams. We were the first team that played under Patty here in Flin Flon, and we actually were great teams for 3 years. We didn't lose very often, and teams would come in here and play Saturday night and Sunday afternoon. And they never won. And you'd always wonder why these teams would be scared coming in here, why they'd be getting beat up Saturday night and beat up Sunday afternoon. And before the Saturday night game, the last thing you'd hear out of Janelle's mouth before you went on the ice, throw the puck in and hit everything that moves.
I can remember coming here as a 16-year-old, right? I went to Weyburn when I was 15. They cut me there, and I came to Flin Flon the following year as a 16-year-old. I'll tell you one thing, coming here was probably the best thing ever happened to me. I spent 4 years under Patty Janelle, and I'll tell you one thing, when I came here I was a pretty good hockey player, but when I left in 70 I was a great hockey player, according to Pat, with Pat's help.
Reggie came to Flin Flon as a defenseman, and he could shoot the puck. He was a great one. And I moved him up on a line with a guy that had buck teeth and glasses, played juvenile hockey. I think his name was Clark. And 3 years later, the teeth were knocked out, didn't wear glasses, and he was off to a career in the Stanley Cup. And him and Reggie, boy, they united together in that. And now Bobby is the manager, coach, and owner, and everything else of that Philadelphia Flyers. And I think he needs a coach, and I need the money.
Knowing that Bobby and Reggie used to skate on this ice and, you know, get dressed in the same room sort of thing, definitely surreal. Just knowing that they've kind of been in our shoes, and guys that talented that have went on to have great careers also, you know, started here. So it's really good to know.
Those Bombers back in the days, they paved the way for our current team, you know, and now it's our job to pave the way for the next generation. I think that it takes a special person to be a Flin Flon Bomber. There's a lot of standards and expectations when it comes to playing for the Bombers, and when you pull that jersey over your head, you need to honor that history and tradition. We're a passionate community, a passionate organization. It's Bombers every day. The standards and expectations are high here.
They can win it here. And now the man, Justin Lees, the captain, the hometown kid, the Flin Flon Bombers. Justin Lees grabs it from center ice. Hits up the left side, curls back. He's high slot, putting on some moves. Gets through. And he beats it and he scores! Justin Lees, the hometown kid, gets the game!
Kind of like a celebrity here, you know. Everyone knows you by name. They support you. They love you. They're invested in you, and that's definitely one of the benefits of playing here. You know, it's just the support you get from the town.
We have to respect and, you know, cherish the history and tradition of the Bombers. You know, honor the players before us and the coaches before us and everybody that made this such a special organization.
The Flin Flon Bombers' influence extends beyond the realm of sports and has reached into the community's arts and culture.
The musical Bomber Town is about the 1957 Flin Flon Junior Bombers hockey team. The Flin Flon teams in the 60s tended to generate more press over a longer period of time. But the one that was foremost in the affections of the local people here was the 1957 team, because it was the one that did the firsts. It was the first time that the Flin Flon team had achieved national prominence.
It was this really astounding David and Goliath story. He, as a composer, really wanted to use that part of his talent to really explore writing a musical theater piece.
This was sort of like a present back to the community, reflecting back something that was very important to them. The team that the Flin Flon Bombers was up against was the farm team for the Montreal Canadiens. And at the time, Montreal Canadiens were part of what was then a 5-year straight run of Stanley Cups. So it was an extremely strong team, and its farm team was also extremely strong. And so basically you had the Flin Flon team meeting up with the farm team for the Montreal Canadiens, and that farm team was awesome, and no one expected the Bombers to do well.
And the Bombers draw first blood, taking game one of the Memorial Cup final.
I think they really underestimated us, and they picked it up as notch, and we didn't step it up the second, third game. But yeah, we left Flin Flon down 2-1. We didn't feel that we couldn't win it. We just felt that, well, they'd have to beat us 4 games. And we went about our business there, had a good practice in Regina. Majority of the fans were behind us. A lot of our fans went down for it. And we won the 4th game, tied the series up. We went in and won the 5th game.
But as the game is over, Bombers win 3-2 and lead the series.
We actually thought we could have won the 6th and finished it in 4-2, but they had different ideas, and they came out on the long end of it and forced it to a 7th game, which was pretty tough sleep in the night before the 7th game. We knew it was going to be whichever team just had the little extra jump or little extra will to win would do it, and thank God we did it for the Bombers and Flin Flon.
It was a tough series, but eventually the Bombers prevailed. Turned a lot of heads. It was a very surprising thing. They were upstarts from the West in a little town that no one had ever heard of.
You still hear about the stories and, you know, how great they were, and it's just a big moment in Bomber history that has brought us to the current place that we are, and why we are known around the world for being such a special organization.
It was a big thing for a little mining town in northern Manitoba. Everybody in town was involved in this thing. It was an unbelievable event. We had about 8,000 people in Flin Flon at that time, and probably 6,000 of them were on Main Street welcoming the team back when they won.
Everyone knew about the musical and was very, very excited about it. That this was their story that we were telling, and it was a huge, huge deal at the time.
The enduring legacy of the Flin Flon Community Choir shines brightly today as they continue to participate in a wide array of musical productions and captivating performances, both within their local community and on international stages.
This choir is so important to Flin Flon because it's been around for so many decades. Many people have been a part of it, and it has helped to really build community within our community in a way that is different from for people who are really into the hockey or into sports. This is another way for them to get together and make something and create something together. The Flin Flon Community Choir has had many achievements, and one of the biggest ones is that they were invited to perform in New York City, which was a super special experience for those who went down to be part of something even larger, part of the music community of the world, you know? And then the talent from within our community is just mind-blowing and outstanding. This is like really a dream come true for me because conducting is one of the things that I love doing the most. So to be able to do that with this group that's been around for so long is spectacular. Anybody is always welcome to join, and it doesn't matter whether they have a lot of experience. There's examples of people who have come and had no experience, and they stand beside someone who does, and they learn. So it's a great place for people to learn, to join in with something if they want to join community. The team building aspect, again, I just want to say, to be part of something bigger like that, you have your one small voice, but it joins with all these voices, and you create something beautiful. You create something sometimes sorrowful or majestic, or all of the different emotions that come through in the arts is the best feeling in the world.
Artistic expressions extend beyond melodies in Flin Flon. The arts continue to flourish in this city, extending their creative reach into captivating realms of visual expression.
Art is important to the community of Flin Flon because I think we're all pretty colorful people. So I think there's just a lot of imagination here in general, but art also, it brings people together. The Norva Center, or Norva, is short for Northern Visual Arts Center, and we're a nonprofit art gallery and studio. The Norva Center was started in 2010 by a group of artists who wanted to have a public space like this, a gathering point where they could come together and share their ideas and encourage and support one another. Local artists exhibit here, as well as guest artists from around the province, interprovincial, and even national artists sometimes are exhibited here. And the studio space is where we have fun, we create, socialize, artists get to come together here and connect with one another. Most of the artwork in Flin Flon is definitely inspired by nature, first and foremost. The landscape, the wildlife, people's experiences doing outdoor activities. But I have also seen a lot of art related to the mine, to mining, sites from the mine, and mine scenes. Of course, there's also lots of Indigenous artwork. The main goal of the Norva Center is to support local artists and help them develop and grow. So lots of people join Norva for the love of art, but they stay for the joy of people and all the memories they make here.
From the early days of mining pioneers who ventured into the depths of the earth, to the hockey legends who graced its rinks, Flin Flon has embodied resilience and ambition. The spirit of this community has shown through industry, sport, and expression in the arts and culture that flourish today. Through it all, a common thread unites these aspects of Flin Flon's identity: the determination to create a vibrant and close-knit community. The past, present, and future converge, weaving a unique narrative that has made Flin Flon the vibrant, thriving town it is today, where history, pioneers, legends, and creativity have come together to shape a remarkable community.